I played 2 games with Castle, and I let him die like 10 times.
Yeah.
And then the next game, I 1v9 against him, and then I heard from like a little bird that he called me a dog. And now he got like, his revenge on me.
It was personal coming into today then.
Oh no! He just destroyed us today.
What's up, guys? It is the first episode of Pros in the Summer Split. I've got with me Tomio, Spica, and Contractz. It's a jungle episode.
3 losers.
I didn't know who was going to say it. I didn't know who was going to say it.
I'll say it. I'll say it.
Tomio, I was praying for you. You're the last series of the day. I was praying that you guys would pick up a win so the trend wouldn't stick.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we weren't able to win.
So what happened? We'll start with your series. Did you guys end up watching the Shopify Rebellion series at all?
I watched a little bit.
Yeah.
I was skimming through it because I was playing solo queue.
So from your perspective, in-game, it was your first game and series of the split. Like, just what was your experience like?
I mean, it's pretty fun until we were getting on.
Yeah.
Like, it felt like we couldn't really do much in the game. I'm like, they're always one step ahead of us.
Yeah.
And the first few minutes, it felt fine, felt comfortable.
Yeah.
And after, like, felt like we couldn't really fight. Slowly in the back of my head, I'm like, I gotta hope for a miracle this game.
Hope they write it down.
Yeah. And especially second game we picked Nidalee. I'm like, this looks due in this house.
Wait, is it the coach or you?
You're free to say what you want.
You can say anything.
Yeah, this is a therapy session.
I want a Nidalee there.
Oh,
We needed like a confidence boost. We needed to bounce back. I was like, guys, it's fine. It's only one game. We got to bounce back. And we just got shit on second game. I'm like, bro, I thought we were gonna win so we could play one more. But it felt sad and depressing, but that's normal. That's just.
How different is it from like, because of course you've had Spring Split where you were with the team as a 6-man, but you were playing NACL before, and it was, whenever I watch NACL, games are always winnable. Like, it always feels like it's a back and forth game. So like, but I saw the last game, it felt like it was really slow, really tough to really find a way back in. How different of an experience is it for you from NACL games to this where it's like, I can't find an opening?
I'd say the difference is teams in their head, they don't make as much mistakes because they know how to close out games cleanly, usually, or slowly. And then NACL, it's like very easy to just kill an inter. Or there's always like at least 3 inters in NACL. And there's like 1 or 2 stable players, and you can actually just win a game. You feel like if you're down 5K in NACL, you can win, but here it's like, it's tough. It's like, we can't do anything.
Yeah.
Damn, bro, it's your first game.
First year is like, oh, damn. It's doomed. Expectations setting in. Contractz, you also had a series at the beginning of the day. You ain't escaping this one, brother.
That was probably the most disgusting Nidalee game I've played in my whole career, not gonna lie.
What happened? Talk us through it a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of trolled the 1v1 a little bit, for sure. I kind of just griefed my tempo by not farming and just not hitting the camps.
Yeah.
And then I got punished for it. And then our comp is just so bad that we can't come back afterwards.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was on me to like get a lead.
Yeah.
I think I actually could have just level 1 invaded and just split mapped, since we had Braum Nidalee, and then just kind of put her off a little bit. But yeah, I mean, it was tough.
I mean, it was a disgusting draft.
Yeah.
I'm gonna just put it out there. Like, I already said it, but like if I'm playing Nidalee that game, if it's a solo queue game, I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Our champs are useless.
Yeah, our champs are actually useless. Yeah.
And stuff. I was like, okay, first Zyra of the game of the split, you were facing it.
Yeah.
Last split, you also faced versus Shaco. Can you get a normal pick going up against you?
Bro, this River guy just wants
collects you as a trophy.
Yeah, he's just his first time f***ing weird champs on stage. I'm just the.
You're the dummy.
Yeah, I'm just the dummy. I'm actually the test dummy. I mean, I give it to him. I mean, he played well. He just full cleared every day or every round.
We got open today. We got open, me and you.
Yeah. We did.
Actually, there was game 1. Very winnable, actually. You guys were winning early fights.
Yeah.
And then there was 2 instances. I'll talk about the second one, which is like, so you win out a dragon fight. You go to Baron, 5v3, but you guys blow all your ultis.
Yeah.
And I guess like a lot of times I looked at it as like, can you guys turn? I was like, everyone is expecting you to turn.
I mean, like, I was really dizzy. I think our whole team was dizzy. But if we just didn't tunnel really hard and just finishing the Baron and just, if I just flash W the Ezreal as Maokai, I think the game would have just been won.
Oh,
but
that's fair.
we would. I was yeah, I didn't identify what I actually had to do. So
That was fair, because at the time I was like, Ezreal has E, Flash, like playing his distance.
Yeah.
Talia's responding with all that. I was like, do they actually, like maybe buy enough time to hit you guys up at Baron? That was tough.
I mean, I think if we, go into the Baron play with like thought process of turning, then like Rel's hiding, I'm hiding in pit or whatever, just like our positioning was just pretty bad.
Yeah, it looked like you guys didn't have like a solid plan coming.
Yeah,
to
we
the
were just hitting
You're
the Baron.
Write it down. Yeah.
I was like looking at Rel too, it was like hitting Baron, like, wait a minute.
Yeah, why is Rel hitting Baron, guys? Yeah, and then the second one was kind of just deja vu. Like, there was the same thing that happened. Kind of just, I think we just randomly got hit by like a Kai'Sa W and Ezreal ult, and then our Rizana's 1 HP, and then we just can't really turn. And
That feels a little, at first going into this split, I was like, I feel like Ezreal's not a great champion at the moment. Now it's getting banned. Feels like priority's a little different. Maybe I have a completely different perspective on it. Like, what are your guys' perspective on Ezreal as a pick so far? We'll get into the meta talk a little later, but at least it's on topic here. Because I did not expect an Ezreal mid, and I feel like historically Ezreal mids have just been really bad.
I think it's just a quid thing, and it's also versus the AD mids.
Yeah.
Like, he's like an okay.
Yeah, he can match them
he can
and
match the
push.
push, and just like
He actually wins
fight.
1v1.
Yeah.
And I think Ezreal, they buffed him. I don't know. I don't read patch notes, but they buffed him. And I just play by feel, but I feel like he's pretty strong right now. Like in solo queue, he's not bad. I see him every game, and unless they're in Inter, but he's good, I think. right
Surely
now.
you read patch
Yeah, I
notes.
respect that.
Okay,
push,
I read some. Like I just read the jungle champs. Then I don't read anything else.
And then if you just get destroyed by like, you just get
Then I
shot
read
by
it.
another
Then I read it.
champion.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think he's
I
solid.
mean, I think the champ is actually really strong. The meta, like they played it last night, right?
Yeah.
Genji T1 and Paze was like 1v9.
Yep.
I mean, I think different teams have like different reads on the meta right now. Like you see drafts all over the place. Like teams who would play AP jungle, teams would play, some bruiser junglers.
Yeah.
They would play like tank junglers. So it just seems like every comp is being played.
Yeah.
And it all seems fine. But I feel like Ezra is actually in a good place in the meta right now because it's all engaged supports.
Yeah.
And Ezra just seems really good against things that's not Nautilus, right? Because they can't actually lock him down.
True.
And right now, I feel like the playstyle is more so like, okay, support jungle run around, mid lane is usually like by themselves in the mid game. So Ezra is like a really good champ to just safely farm, get prow, and they like move around.
Yeah.
So I actually feel like he's in a really good spot, and he got a bunch of buffs.
He did.
Yeah.
And I was going to talk about patch later on, because I'm not going to let you run away from. You played games yesterday, brother. Wait, you and
Ezreal.
Yeah, we're done with Ezreal. You gotta explain yourself. What's funny was like actually, so I was really high, and I think okay, shouldn't finish the sentence. I was really high on Dignitas coming into the split because it's like okay, a lot of like veteran players coming in with a lot of experience, like MVPs, championships, all that stuff. I was like. But you guys haven't played in a little bit. You've been playing solo queue, sure.
Yeah.
And Jensen, of course, has just been on the team, but like Licorice and Sven were off. I was like, where are you guys at right now? Because I thought like a lot of predictions have you guys high. But then
Did we though?
But then you hear from the players and everyone's saying you guys losing every scrim. So you need to explain yourself.
Okay. Let me defend myself, okay?
Okay.
Because I saw a bunch of clear lists.
Yes,
There was a Travis Gaffer video.
that's true.
NRG put us at like pretty low.
It was really low.
Pretty low.
Everybody put
But
us low.
let me explain myself. Let me explain myself. Number one, the first time we scrim NRG, that was like I think our first scrim, first or second scrim. So like we haven't played any scrim, so we were like getting fisted. Like it was not looking good, right? So I think that's where the impression came from.
Okay.
But we were getting better throughout the week. I think in total we started scrimming. We started scrimming like the 30th.
Okay.
Of last month, so like I guess it's like 14 days. We have like 1 or 2 off days, acid days, riot content stuff. So it's like 2 weeks, give or take.
Yeah.
So I feel like we started off really slow, but like as the week went on, instead of getting like completely fisted, we just got slightly fisted. Like we're getting better, right? The trajectory is going up.
What's the percentage of wins, if you can tell me? Because you told us the percentage of wins when you were on FlyQuest, and it wasn't great then either.
Yeah, I mean we were losing every game, and then now we're losing like. We can win like 1 or 2 games a day.
Oh my God.
That's better than.
That's better than zero.
Yeah, that kind of sounds like us too.
That's better than zero. Yeah.
But that makes sense
Okay,
because.
we actually had the best record against you guys.
Yeah.
Which I'm not sure if it's a good luck.
I mean, your Nidalee just just
Don't
kills.
leak. Don't leak.
Speaking of plays
We've
Nidalee,
seen
guys.
your games and okay, fine.
Yeah.
You can put
We see your
Nidalee
solo
for
queue
real?
games,
Yeah,
buddy.
but Yeah, I mean, I think scrim results are always just.
Yeah.
I never really put too much weight to it.
Yeah.
Because there's a times where we have like horrible scrim results, but then we just play really well on stage. And then last split, or like I guess 2 splits ago in summer split, right? We were like f***ing everybody. We're like going home after like literally 3 hours, right? When normally the scrim day is like 5 hours. We just like play our games, and at 20 minutes, then we go home, or like we're finished for the day.
Yeah.
And then we're getting on stage. So I just feel like scrims just depends on what you're actually practicing.
Yeah.
So I never really put too much weight into scrim results as long as I feel like we're actually improving on the things that we're like, trying to improve on.
Talk about the games a little bit from your side, because at least you've had some chance. Yeah, you've had some chance to review them a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, going to this series, I was confident.
Okay.
Even though our scrims were horrible, because I feel like me and Jensen are just like stage players.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the things Jensen do in scrims is just like Lil Bro's a different player on stage. He's like he plays really really well on stage. I don't know about because Contractz has played with Jensen before, so maybe you could comment on like
you remember
how
those
he
days?
is.
How long ago? Like almost 6 years ago
a
for
long
me.
time,
Let's see.
man.
That's a long time
It's been
ago.
a
Yeah.
while.
There are some experiences that can scar you and you'll remember. So I'm sure
I
this
definitely
is maybe
remember
one of
some
them.
stuff for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. I remember getting 0-6 by P1 back in the day, and then we just went on to make finals.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, definitely a little scrim slacker for sure.
Okay, there we
Yeah.
go.
I mean, I just feel like me and him both just played better on stage.
Yeah.
So like, I didn't really put too much weight into the scrim results. And we were just a lot of times we're just trying different stuff, right?
Yeah.
But honestly, I felt like we were playing better than C9. But we just made a lot of like individual mistakes. Like I inted a few times, and then like we had some mechanical errors, right?
Yeah.
But like outside of that, I feel like every game was playable. It was like in our hands to win, and then we just do them.
Yeah.
And they were making like a lot of like crucial individual mistakes. It's just like both teams can win because both teams are bad, but we were just worse. So at least with that game, I just feel confident going to next week, just because I feel like we were doing some good things that wasn't really showing up on stage or in scrims. I mean, and we could take that experience into this week or the next week and improve on those at least.
How different does it feel, and this is for everybody, between last split and this split with best of threes now in regular season?
Yeah.
Because now you've had a day to cool down because there's now like one best of 3 a week. So now that you guys can like at least have some space and think about it a little bit, like what would be the biggest difference that you guys have seen from best of threes? You guys like it overall? Obviously, we're all coming out with L's at the beginning, so maybe they're not the most positive. But any routines that you've had to change off of it? I'll start with you, Contractz.
I mean, I like best of threes back. They were around when I first started becoming a pro, and I think we played 2 best of threes a week back then. So the input of game or the amount of games that you got were a lot more.
Yeah.
But I think just being able to adapt between each game, like, definitely just gives a lot more variety for champions and strategies that you want to use. And I think you can use the whole week to prepare for one team is a pretty important buff as well. Overall, I mean, good change.
Nice. You guys align with that? You guys agree with that overall?
Yeah, I think it's solid because you get to get more practice together on stage as a team.
Yeah.
And say if you had a bad game, you at least have another chance to come back. And I think overall as a player, playing more games is a lot better, I think. Instead of just losing one game and then you move on from that day.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, BO3s was really fun.
Yeah.
It just feels like it's actually a series, right? Because like a lot of times in BO1s, if you get cheesed or like you're like warming up,
Yeah.
and then you just lose and you just go home, it just feels really bad.
True.
But at least with BO3s, it's like okay, you can like maybe like you warm up game 1. If you mess up, there's no pressure there because if you bounce back game 2 and 3, you just have a chance.
Yeah.
But on the adaptation part, I don't actually feel like there's a lot of adaptation going on just because it's only 1 round robin, right? Because
Yeah.
if it's 2 round robin, you lose it. You're like testing stuff, in a BO3, and then it's like okay, if you lose this series, it's fine because you have more series coming. But since we only have 1 round robin, it feels like every game you still have to try as hard as you can,
Yeah.
right? Just because you lose this, there's only like 7 series left.
Yeah.
That is true. I would challenge that a little bit and be like, because at least in week 1, I feel like no one really has a complete idea what the meta, like what is the meta and what can be traded and what can't. A lot of people are letting Skarner go to the other side and playing Rumble into Skarner. A lot of people. So it's like, I don't know. I'm just saying that at least within the series, I don't know if you guys have had it where you're like, actually, now that we've gone through game 1, I didn't like that at all, and we've changed our thought process on what our read is. Have you guys ever had that at least in this week? Where you're like,
I thought I was like, yo, this champ's broken. We can't do anything. Like,
But then you did it again.
no, you ran it back. You're like, guys, okay, let's just take jungle in 4 or 5 and give a counter pick. But it just felt like the same thing. He's taking all our space. We always have to be scared of him flanking us. It's like, what can we do? We can't kill him.
yeah. There was actually one Baron fight that was just disgusting for Skarner because I don't think you guys saw him on the top side.
Yeah.
He just like runs through top terrain when you guys are on Baron or something, and then pins. I think you can only bin one.
Yeah.
But he like ults 2 into the enemy. So it's actually
saw
there's a
that,
lot.
yeah.
Yeah.
I saw
That was
It
disgusting.
was actually a nightmare. And also the night before,
Yeah.
I played 2 games with Castle, and I let him die like 10 times.
Yeah.
And then the next game, I 1v9 against him, and then I heard from like a little bird that he called me a dog. And now he got like,
Damn,
now he
that's
got his revenge on me.
It was personal coming to
Yeah.
today then.
Oh
He just destroyed us today.
Oh, we need this. There's no round. We need a comeback.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's actually crazy. Well, that's
Yeah.
unfortunate.
I mean, I think in our series, like there was adaptation going on as well.
Yeah.
It's like first game we played like Talia against their Corgi, like they got fisted, and then they picked Talia.
Yeah.
Right, and then we like kind of ran back a similar draft, and then we lost, and then we made like a small adaptation.
True.
So I guess from that perspective, it's like okay, teams are just like, even though there's no like drastic draft changes, there's still like small like minor changes to like make it come more like cohesive. You know,
True.
if you feel like it wasn't working like the game before, at least.
Let's talk about the meta then. Just the picks overall.
Yeah.
We have the Jungle Council.
Okay.
Yep. Let's start with Nidalee. Guys, you Contractz, you can speak first. At least Nidalee in this region, you're not alone on this one. If we brought in Blabber, maybe it would have been better. So you're not the only one speaking. But like in LCK and in LPL, it has been played a lot. I actually don't remember the win rate on it, but it has been actually feared quite a bit.
It was winning
Yeah.
in the beginning, and now I think it's like pretty like 50-50.
I think it's 50-50. I think it literally
it's
is 50-50.
close to 50-50, yeah.
Yeah, from what I saw.
Yeah.
So like, but of course, in North America, that's the starkest difference, is that it's just not finding the success. Why would you guys say, and I'll start with you, Contractz, that at least like Nidalee is not finding the success that it is in like LCK and LPL? You can start with the obvious, but yeah.
I think the champion is strong for sure. I think maybe we don't have the best read of when to pick it. But, I mean, at least from my perspective, I feel like it's like a Omega Scrim champ as well, because like, I mean, you
agree.
just turbo smurf, gank everywhere, farm fast, like, you're just like 2 to 3 levels on enemy jungler, and it looks really broken.
Yeah.
But when you get on stage, the game's gonna be obviously more stable.
Yeah.
You're not gonna get as ahead. Maybe you'll have a couple camp lead, or maybe you'll get like a kill here and there. But yeah, I mean, it's a lot more controlled on stage, and I think, I mean, I don't know. It's still a champ that I'm figuring out, honestly, because I have a lot of success on it in like solo queue and scrims and stuff. But if you play well, you'll do well on it. But if you play bad on it, then you're not going to do well.
I agree, because in scrims, people take more risks.
Yeah.
People don't care that much. They want to fight more.
Yeah.
And people are more greedier, so that lets a champ like Nidalee just run around and kill everybody.
Yeah.
And I'd say on stage, I agree, like, it's really chill. It's like the game is slow as hell compared to scrims, and their enemy should be happy
Yeah.
if you're even with Nidalee.
Yeah.
And they feel more in a better position than you.
Are you guys as a team, like, I'm just talking about everyone here, just because there's always going to be a pick that's working out really well in scrims, and then your teammates are like, guys, it's just like fake news. It's not like it's a scrim bait.
Yeah.
Like there's always like a scrim bait that's out there.
Yeah.
And Italy has been historically the scrim bait a lot of the times. I'm not saying for you guys to showcase any of that, but like it's interesting because she's got a lot of changes. The AP jungle changes also adds in, so we can talk about AP junglers a little bit more as well. But Spica, just your thoughts on Nidalee as a pick, because is it just a skill issue? Is it like we as a team, like the region can't play well with a Nidalee?
I mean, I think it's like both. I think it's like up to the players who make the champion work, but I think like more importantly, it's up to your team.
Yeah.
Right. Like it sounds kind of weird because Nidalee's a champion's like traditionally scales with like the player's skill. You know,
Yeah.
if you're really good on Nidalee, you can like really on enemy like like what Kenyon did way before. Like a few years back when Nidalee was like super meta, like 2020, right?
Yeah.
But I think what really needs to happen for Nidalee to win is actually the teams and how you play around the picks. And I feel like historically it's not really like doing well in NAs because usually I feel like NA laners are not really great at like, I want to say pushing leads, but playing aggressive and playing with tempo, I feel. Because Nidalee is really sensitive to how your laners are playing, right? If your laners are not taking aggressive trades when you're like on their side of the map, if they're just 50-50 farming, if your support is not like looking to like get enemy jungle vision and play with you, it's like really hard to play.
Yeah.
Like for example, in the Contractz game, right? Like I think that comp was just horrible for Nidalee. Like even if it's Canyon playing, like I really don't think it will make a difference. Just because like Kai'Sa Braum has no setup, right?
Yeah.
Kai'Sa Braum no setup. Corki is like good for Nidalee, but like it's not really anything amazing. It's only there for damage spread.
Yeah.
K'Sante can't really make the lane volatile. K'Sante is just a tank that farms, right?
Yeah.
So it's just like you have no lanes to play around, but you can just like all you can do is just farm and like try to get lucky. Right? Like if you get lucky, yeah, you can get a kill and maybe like win off of that, but like realistically speaking, if the enemy is like just chilling, your champ is gonna be useless. Right? So I just think the champ really needs like both the player and the team to understand how to play with it in order to make it succeed, I think.
Confirm and deny?
Yeah, I mean, it is pretty hard. It is a lot about getting lucky that game. I mean, even though I fucked up or messed up, I think definitely not a lot of options for me that game.
Okay, let's talk about just like, we talk about AP junglers as a whole.
Yeah.
Like Tomio. Now I've been peeping some solo queue accounts, and overall, you've been playing a lot of like Zyra, Nidalee, like just a lot of carries. Maybe it doesn't. Thankfully, you got your Nidalee game in, but I swear to God, I look at your match history. But like, look at your match history from just like in NACL as well, and you're mostly just on like dog duty with like Senwani and everything. So you got that in. And it was like, talk about AP junglers in general, because like you've had 60% win rate or like pretty high win rate on Nidalee and Zyra and everything. Spica, I don't know.
I have 44% winner on Zyra.
I can't really say, but you play it.
I play a lot, yeah, I play a lot.
Yeah. Let's speak to it a little bit.
About Zyra and like all the AP junglers?
Just a lot of the AP junglers, because like Lilia, Zyra, just because of the AP itemization changes and also some buffs.
Yeah. I think they're pretty good because they farm pretty fast, and I think that's what people came into when they changed jungle, the XP, and people thought with these new jungle items or AP items that you can farm fast, you can be up high in tempo on the enemy jungler if they're not like a farming one too.
Yeah.
And I do think, if for sure, for these champs to work, your team has to kind of let you do your thing.
Yeah.
And if you don't get that big of a lead or much, I feel like you'll be less useful than the enemy jungler, because that's the whole point of picking these AP champs is getting a lead. You can't really like everything.
Yeah.
And everybody's picks are different right now.
Yeah.
So maybe teams will find what champs work for them.
Yeah.
This week was like a test week, I'd say, for most teams. Not most teams, but some teams.
Yeah.
And I think Nidalee's like 0-3 so far. It's low win rate in LCK too. The only high win rate region it is, I think, is LPL. Because I think there, everybody's like fights, like solo laners and laners. So I think that creates more opportunity for Nidalee. And everybody's willing to fight for 6-minute grub, for example.
Yeah.
And in here, it's like relating to what Spica said about laners just chilling, going 50-50. So it's harder to make this champ work, I'd say.
Okay, that's worth it. And also, to you guys, like, the Zyra is the one that got me specifically. Like, we haven't seen Lilia yet. Actually, do you guys think Lilia is like a good champ at the moment? Like, playable for competitive? Probably not so much.
I mean,
comps.
for me, it's always comp.
Yeah,
right. I think the champ is like broken if you pick her in a good comp.
Yeah.
But it's like it would never happen if teams are like aware of it. You know, because like Lilia can only really play against like a lot of melee champions.
Yeah.
If you're ever playing against like 2 range champ, it's unplayable.
Yeah.
So that's why teams don't really play Lilia. They just opt into things like Bran, which like they're like Bran is not great against range, but you can still you just have range spells. Even if you get like one shot, you can blow all your spells and do a lot of damage, right? But like Lilia needs to be melee range, or else she's just useless.
What would you guys recommend just people at home to play if they want to be able to like climb or something? Because hey, we're on a live patch. Not a lot of regions are. We're the only region on
Yeah.
14.12 at the
Yeah.
moment.
Play some Karthus.
Karthus?
some
I'd say
Karthus.
Hecarim's pretty broken too.
Hecarim, okay,
Yeah.
that's good too. I've also.
Hecarim.
What about you?
I mean, I would just play Talia.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
I was playing Talia a lot last split and last year as well. I think the champ is like, because most AP junglers are really farm heavy.
Yeah.
But Talia is like a good in between of like she farms really fast and she can also gank. So I think it's and her ulti is very good for solo queue as well.
Okay. Before I move on, just the last thing, because this was in the 14.10, but you never really know what the impact is, was the jungle experience changes. There's like
Yeah.
jungle experience changes, the duo experience changes. Like, do you guys feel that impact within the games, just in general? If no, because it's like later experiences, so it's like for mid game, late game. So I don't know how
Yeah.
much people actually feel that within the game.
I mean, I think that's like one of the biggest reason why AP junglers or like these like hyper carry junglers are even viable.
Yeah.
Just because before the change, it's pretty much impossible. Like you never really see any carry junglers.
Yeah.
Because if you are just farming, right, and the enemy jungler is like impacting the map, best case, you're like one level below the solo laners, right?
Yeah.
And while the enemy jungler is like running around the map, like ganking every lane, like it's really hard to play because you have like no pressure. But nowadays, if you farm well and you like play with your tempo well, you're like same level. Which means you're actually able to carry against those laners, right? Because when you play carry junglers, you're not really fighting against an enemy jungler unless they're also playing carry. You're fighting against the enemy laners like mid and AD who has the most gold.
Yeah.
So if you're the same level, you can actually beat them, and that's how you actually win games. And I think this change just allows you to actually have that condition.
You guys agree with that?
Yep.
Sweet. Let's go into some of the more personal stuff because first things first, yes, to you, you have, like, I think the last time we saw you play a stage game was like 329 days ago.
Oh, really?
my
But that was
Wait.
summer split of
almost a year.
2023.
Wait, it's been,
That was FlyQuest summer.
well, it's
It was
been
that long.
300 days?
Yeah, I checked it.
God.
I thought
did
it was
my
like
homework.
6 months. That's how it feels like.
And it kind of,
right?
okay.
Yeah.
That's
Well, I
so
didn't-
wrong.
I actually
so
didn't realize.
He's saying that's wrong.
That's like a year.
He's saying
That's
it's wrong.
wrong. That's actually
I went
almost a
into
year.
match history and I added it up.
Yeah,
it
that's
was not even
crazy.
my math. But you know what? That's
we were
fair.
really bad that summer, huh? We didn't even make playoffs.
Oh my
That's
God.
crazy.
It is playoffs, so maybe it's that far.
Yeah.
Because I did it was like July 16th or something.
Okay.
So that was why it was so far off. So if my
Yeah.
producer's saying it's wrong, it's you in the chat that backs me up. So I'm putting that out there.
Yeah.
But yes, it's been a very long time, and you've been mostly just streaming.
Yeah.
So you've been on a streaming schedule. How has that been? Because I mean, I watch once in a while.
Yeah.
Bit of a gremlin at times, but talk to us streaming in general, and then coming back into pro.
Yeah, I mean, I could just talk about like, at least like my off season, leading up to streaming.
Yes.
Like after we got completely destroyed. Well, we didn't even make playoffs, right? I think the end of the year, I just went to Korea. I spent like a whole month in Korea around like Worlds time.
Yeah.
Just because I was expecting to play the next split, and
Yeah.
I was just spamming Korean solo queue trying to get as good as possible, just because I feel like it's like one thing when you play competitive for a long time, you forget. Like I think you just naturally get less aggressive when you play competitive for a long time. I think Contractz can talk about that as well because he played like longer than me. But like when you're a solo queue player, right, going to competitive, you still have that, I guess, like aggressiveness and spark.
Like the instinct. And,
The instinct from
Yeah.
just from playing solo queue, and that's why a lot of rookies actually do well their first split because they're kind of like unpredictable in a good way, right?
Yeah.
Like sniper coming in, like solo killing like every top laner, kind of like that. And I just like going to that, like off season, I guess I kind of want to find that spark. And then I didn't end up on a team, so I just streamed for the whole year. And I think at least playing solo queue for like a whole split, I guess 6 months.
Yeah.
I think it actually helped me being better as a player, just because I feel like I was kind of stagnating, just taking a break, just helped me find how to play through my own condition, right? Because I think sometimes, at least for me, I just care too much about my teammates and trying to help them instead of like, okay, you tank this like whatever death, and then I'll give the pressure back. I feel like I was missing that a lot of times. I just felt like I wasn't doing what I need to like carry the team when I can.
Yeah.
So I feel like taking at least I guess a whole year off actually helped me as a player.
Yeah.
And honestly, streaming was fun. I mean, it's like a different perspective, different schedule, but I really do miss playing. And like playing the BO3s with like, I mean, there was so many fans, I think.
Yes.
Yesterday.
Yeah.
When I played, and it was like the energy was great, and I just miss playing competitive league again.
How did you feel about the whole? Because it seems like you missed it. You already
Yeah.
said it. But like during the streaming thing, would you see that as? Because it seemed like you enjoyed it at the time. And I'm sure you still do.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it. It's just different, right? Like playing solo queue, where everything's chaotic. I feel like you have to play more selfish.
Yeah.
In order to carry the game. I don't really like it. I like the organized competitive play more, where it's like, okay, you and your team can try to figure something out, right?
Yeah.
Try to like do something crazy, which doesn't really exist in solo queue, I think.
And Tomio, I haven't seen you stream in a long time. What happened?
All I gotta say is I'm fighting my demons. I'm fighting my demons out here. I guess when you come back or looking to play, you get a lot of stress, more stress.
Yeah.
I guess now that I'm getting older, and
Wait, how are you?
I'm 21. I just started yesterday. When you're younger,
That's crazy.
you actually like, you feel like you don't care that much, or I mean, I guess maybe now I'm just focused on trying to be better and better every day and improving as a player. Because I got into pro play, and back then, I was just playing league for fun and playing tier 2 amateur while in high school, and I'd say for sure it's good to find a balance, but I wanted to take like a more serious approach for myself and put in more time in just studying the game or watching from different regions and just trying to improve day by day. And even in solo queue, I try to like apply these things, even though it's hard to.
I wanted to actually bounce off that one and talk about your time as six-man, because I remember having conversations with you whenever the team was in the studio, because you were living with the team, or at least you were working with the team. You just weren't on stage.
Yeah.
A lot of times, and I feel, Contractz, you've had this experience when you were like kind of on six-man on Cloud 9, the whole bouncing around, right? But like a lot of the times, I guess technically on TSM, I don't know. Anyways, point that I wanted to make for you is that like when you're on six-man, you don't really know if you're ever going to get the call-up.
Yeah.
And it really depends on how much faith you have in the system, the coaching, and you're like, I always feel like you never know if the player's motivation or something is gonna like die out. So I was worried at the time.
Yeah.
But what was it like for you? Because you did end up getting the call up, but it seemed like when you were working internally, you were grinding. What was the experience as a six-man?
I'd say my experience is I was playing solo queue a lot. You get a lot of free time. You're not as stressed. And during scrims, you can either like learn or try to help the team or speak to the other jungler or other position and try to help make the team win, because I think that's what everybody wants.
Yeah.
And I'd say you're kind of like, you don't really know what to do or your main role is unless you were given one.
Yeah.
And you're kind of just there, just hoping, I guess, to play, or one day they decide to try you in scrims or something, and you kind of can't really predict your future. Because before, you for sure do lose a little bit motivation.
Yeah.
Or for example, for me, the split before in 2023, playing like NACO and then we won both splits, and I was like, oh, finally, maybe I get to play LCS, doesn't matter what team.
Yeah.
And then I got like no offers or anything, and then it was like a last like one call, and they're like, yeah, we can look to maybe get you a sub spot. And I was like, and then during the season, the team wasn't doing so great, so I was like hoping I was able to get some scrim time, and maybe I can maybe change the team or make them better, or maybe we can make playoffs, because we were like fighting for our lives trying to make playoffs the whole time, at least after the round robin finish. And you kind of just sit there and hope for the best and hope to play, because that's what everybody wants to do.
Yeah. So you were involved with like some of the scrims, like just watching?
Yeah,
and,
just
like,
watching.
That makes sense.
And you kind of feel like less engaged, I'd say. You're like out of touch. And the passion is still there, but it slowly fades away, because there's a chance you don't even play.
Yeah.
And it's like rough.
But you made it, and you finally got to play.
Yeah.
Well, how was it like the first week of scrims when you got the call up?
The first week of scrims?
Yeah.
It was in Korea.
Yeah.
The first 2 days I was like in the bed, because it's like been a while, and I wasn't playing how I used to, or like how I was before, because I haven't competed in like 8 months, or like just in scrims and stuff. It felt weird for sure. And then Boogie's being positional coach and helping, and after the 3 days, I was like kind of smurfing and playing really well.
Yeah.
We scrimmed like C9, 100. We went like even with C9.
Yeah.
The second block, or the second time we scrimmed them. The first time I kind of got shit on.
Yeah.
And then 100 we did pretty well against them. They're kind of
Nice.
crazy in scrims. And then there was like a break point. We scrimmed Genji Academy, I think, and we got 06. We got shit on. And then after that night we had like a 4-hour conversation. It ended at like 1 a.m. and as a team we all bounced back and we like smurfed the rest of the days upcoming. But one main thing is you should never, if you do take a break, you should never try to lose your mojo or like yourself as a player, I think.
That sounds about right. Actually, it kind of sounds a lot about like the pathway you had up Contractz, because that pathway you have from like at the time I was Academy, and then you got that chance in EG, and you got to show what you were working on, and that was like a big breakthrough for you. So I speak to, because like I feel like a lot of what's being said here is something you felt yourself too. Am I reading too much into this?
Somewhat. Mine was more so like I was in the LCS and I hit a lot of peaks, and then it was kind of just like a slow trajectory downwards of like, I mean, that one year I was like back-to-back 10th place, and then 2019, I think I was just like really stressed in like the team environment with everything, so I wasn't really playing well. And then, you know, I hit Academy in 2020, and then I think the first split of Academy, I definitely was like pretty unfocused. I mean, I wasn't playing much solo queue, kind of just vibing and going with the flow.
Yeah.
And I think our last playoff match in Academy, we like got 0-3, and I went like 0-10 on Trundle or something.
Yeah.
And then after that, I was like, wow, am I really this bad now that I'm just fucking going 0-10 on Trundle?
Yeah.
So then I started like putting a lot more effort and time and motivation into, you know, just playing League, because, you know, I just wanted to, you know, it started off as my passion, and it turned into, you know, being passionate for the competitive side of League. And, yeah, I mean, I pretty much just told myself that, like, if I'm going to keep playing pro, I'm going to put in all the effort that I can for it. And was able to get, like, a few... I mean, honestly, I got kind of lucky in 100 Thieves. It kind of blew up. And then was able to, you know, beat the undefeated C9 in 2020.
True.
So I got my first kind of mojo back in LCS from that. And then, yeah, unfortunately, I didn't get an LCS offer the year after, but I was pretty fortunate that EG gave me a chance, because I think their jungler got banned. But
I don't even remember that. Actually, I think he couldn't get
banned.
it.
Shaden
Yeah,
got
he
comp
did.
banned, so I got really lucky and got a job there. And yeah, then they had like the 6-man thing where I was kind of subbing in and out.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember those
Versus
scrims.
yeah.
What happened to those scrims? It's been enough time.
It's been like 4 years now.
I just remember 2021, right?
Yeah, 21.
Yeah, we were scrim EG, and then like, cause they were swapping out you and Svenskeren, and like what Jizuke would do, cause he was the mid lane at the time. If it's Svenskeren playing, he plays like Fuddy champs. He plays like Aesol, which is a shit champ at the time. He played like Rise, which is not very good. He just runs it down. And then when Contractz is playing, he's playing like Peak Faker. He's like, oh,
Wait.
something everywhere.
Svenskeren playing Aesol jungle?
Jizuke.
You said Svenskeren.
Jizuke would just run it down when Svenskeren's playing and play like the best player when Contractz is playing. So we're just like, is he like?
No,
He's like
he
an
really
inside.
was.
Is there some, you know,
doing it on
there's some
purpose.
stuff happening?
That's crazy. What the
That's what. That's,
Let's just say some people didn't get along, and sometimes, yeah, there's some rough moments on that EG team, but
Yeah.
still got my chance.
Sure.
And I came in and beat this guy, and
wait,
You glue up.
and then
the Diana game.
Yeah, the Diana game. You're playing Volibear, I think. You guys were
Oh, he
first
remembers
place.
that.
Of course, I'm
I
gonna
don't-
remember
I
because
don't
that was like a
remember,
peak
yeah.
moment.
Yeah.
no, I think I was playing like Mundo or something.
But no, you were Volibear.
Oh,
for
I
sure.
see. Yeah, that's a free lose. That's a free lose.
Yeah, but I mean, I just got a chance, and every chance that I got, I showed that I still belong in the LCS. So definitely was a lot of up and downs, but motivation was definitely on the low side at times, but just stayed resilient and got back to this point. So
You're in the middle of resilience right now. I gotta talk about it, brother.
yeah, it is true.
Because you guys, I remember Summer Split. I mean, everyone remembers Summer Split. Huge Cinderella run. You win champions. Of course, like Spring Split was really tough. And then when I talked to Thinkard for the coaches interview coming into today, and he said that basically everything changed in how you guys like prepped and like basically done practice, I guess. Just the idea of trying to improve with the same roster, like with a different focus. So what would you say is going wrong with the squad, and what has been the pathway forward going into summer?
I mean, in spring, I think we were kind of just really high on like expectations from the year prior, and I think our practice and team environment, like we just expected kind of greatness all the time, and we didn't really have much leeway for like mistakes, I think, mentally for pretty much everybody.
Yeah.
And that built up over time because, you know, people are just still making mistakes. I'm making mistakes. People are getting frustrated, tilted, and it kind of just builds off each other.
Yeah.
And it kind of set the tone for a lot of the days, and practice wasn't really productive, and a lot of clashing and arguments and stuff like that, and not really like finding ways to resolve it, I guess. And I think just coming into practice for summer, people's outlooks were just a lot more open-minded, and people were a lot more accountable for their mistakes, and we're just kind of like more aligned on like how we want to play and how we want to practice. Obviously, we weren't able to really show it week one, but you know, it's a long split, and I'm sure with, you know, more practice days, I think it'll only get better.
That sounds about right. I remember even when you guys were winning, the funny thing was like the conversation about like, yeah, but we're still arguing. Like, the arguments were conducive and constructive at the time.
Yeah.
So I guess like you guys have just gone back to being open-minded and being constructive with like, I guess with a better focus.
Yeah, I mean, I think the first step is just everyone being accountable for themselves. Basically.
All right, let's look ahead because now week one is in the bin. We're looking on to week two. I want to look into some of your matches going into the future. So I'm seeing an NRG versus FlyQuest. So what's your thought? You probably haven't had the chance to think about it, but what's your immediately thought going into FlyQuest?
I mean, the trend nowadays is to hate on FlyQuest, right?
That is true.
Yeah.
That came out of nowhere until like
I mean,
everyone's been piling it on.
Yeah. I mean, I think their players are pretty solid, pretty good. Obviously, they didn't have like the greatest MSI showing, but I mean, I think they're all strong players. We're definitely just, it's more of ourselves kind of thing. I think if we play well and play to our win conditions and really solidify like the style that we want to play in this coming week, I think we definitely have a good chance for sure.
You guys are gonna be facing off 100 Thieves.
100 Thieves, yeah.
Oh, so you've already thought about it. You need to talk to. If you already know that much.
I was talking to River because I was like, you stole my Zara jungle pick,
Zara
you know?
first pick.
Yeah. And then I was just bantering, saying, you know, next week we play you guys first pick Zara jungle, you know, see who's a better Zara.
Yeah.
But I think, I mean, 100 Thieves, I think I didn't watch the game fully yet, but I think you know, they play fine, they play well. I mean, I have confidence. I think, like Contra said, I mean, I feel like in the beginning of split, it's always about yourself, more so than an enemy, you know? Like, it doesn't matter if the enemy's like in T1 or like Gen G, you know?
Yeah.
Like, what you really want is to establish like a way, you know, maybe like a style or like how you play the game. And I think that's always more important than your opponents because it's just the beginning of the split. Also, a lot of times it's really difficult to scout because you don't really have a lot of information, so you can't even like come up with strategies or like draft plans to counter the opponent, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, it's just really about yourself, I think. I mean, I think we have a really good chance. You know, trajectory is going up, so, you know, I'm really confident.
I've got to ask you the same thing, even though these are all, I'm sure you're going to say the same thing, as especially
Say something different. Say something different.
Say something different.
Something new, but no, you can say the same thing. You guys are going to be going up against Team Liquid, so I'm sorry.
They're horrible.
I mean, in my philosophy, I don't know what that word means, but I just say it because everybody says it. That, you know, every team, anybody's beatable.
Yeah.
Nobody's robots, and like the players are gonna make mistakes, and it's just League of Legends at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And I think as long as your team and yourself plays how you want to play, I think you should always have a chance because I think today, especially against IMT, we were just always thinking about what the enemy was going to do.
Yeah.
We're trying to match them everywhere, but we kind of didn't want to play how we usually play, which kind of like bit us in the bumhole. But I don't know why I said that either, but as long as we come prepared and not nervous or scared at all, I think we should have a good chance.
Yeah.
And anything can happen. It's not like, even though they are the strongest team to everybody because they came in, they won, they look like the gods, but there's no god in this world,
Yeah.
and anybody's beatable, you know? That's why there's a thing called upsets. Upsets happen for
True.
a reason. Are they really upsets? But
Yeah.
they're not really upsets.
Who's gonna be all chatting?
I'm
AKA
muting
gonna
all.
talk.
We got I got locked in. I got locked in if I want to stay in the league. Maybe I had like maybe the worst debut ever out of all players. I didn't.
There's worse out there.
How was your guys' debut? When you started playing?
My debut was pretty good. I 2-0 TSM.
Okay.
How about you?
What
What year was that?
2017. I
2017,
went
yeah.
like 6-0 on Kazakhs and then like
Oh
8-0
my
on
God.
NSM.
Okay.
It's kind of peaking.
Yeah. What about you, Spica?
I don't remember actually.
I think this wasn't that when you came
No,
in for playoffs?
I don't remember.
Oh,
I mean,
Well, that's
for
like-
playoffs, I didn't consider that debut because I was
Okay.
like filling in.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Okay.
like summer 2020, I consider that like my first like actual game, right? Because that's when I was like starter,
Yeah.
screaming with the team beforehand.
Okay. If you don't remember,
I don't remember what happened.
the historians out in the chat will remind you. They will remind you, but it'll probably be
Yeah.
a good split.
Yeah.
So it is what it is.
I mean, didn't you win first when you
Surely.
first?
We ended on a good note.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
You
all
guys
I
won.
remember.
Okay, you're hiding something.
Good note.
You're hiding something.
Yeah.
All right, guys, that's going to be it for this episode. Thank you guys for joining me. I love this episode. Hope you guys loved it at home. That wraps it up for episode 1 of Pros. Watch out for episode 2 next week.
See ya.
See ya.
See you guys.